Those are the professional audio elements that you don't get on every podcast.
No.
It's a big deal. So this is the Classic Guitar Rack podcast, and nothing looks normal about this shot. I mean, first of all, we've got 3 people crammed into the space of one person. So, and this is a mess.
Fit in this little square.
Exactly.
That's really tough to fit all in that square.
So, and I'm speaking to myself. I'm reminding JR, we got to look at the camera.
Look at the
when
camera.
we talk, because what we
right.
do, we tend to look at the screen in front of us, but we really need to look at the camera. Pro tip from Eric. Now, you guys might be wondering, JR, we're joined by Eric Sherm, and what's the deal with this Oklahoma Sports Network? So we'll talk about what's going on here, what I've been doing. I haven't done an update in ages, because I'm in Lawton, Oklahoma, which is where JR, my partner, lives.
Exactly. This is where all the good things.
So
happen.
we're here. So first, let me explain why we're in the Oklahoma Sports Network. My hat's crooked.
You're on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
Right.
I'm not shaving. I've been out in the hot sun all day, and now these guys are sitting right next to me. It's got to be awkward for everyone. But here's the deal. First of all, I'm from Washington. I live in Washington. And people that live in my part of the country, we like football. Okay, we like football
strongly,
but it's not like football here.
It's a religion here.
It almost is.
Right behind Texas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you think about football, you think of Texas, Oklahoma, right?
Mm-hmm. Friday night.
So
nights.
the Oklahoma Sports Network is a network. Obviously, it's in Oklahoma, and it broadcasts sports for high schools, some universities throughout Oklahoma. And my friend Eric is can I call you the founder?
Yeah.
What's your role? I mean, what's your title?
Founder, owner, manager,
Founder,
bottle washer, cook,
he does it all.
chief cook and bottle washer.
So Eric and I, and we'll talk about this in a minute. Eric and I have known each other, I think, since 1989.
That sounds about right.
JR and I have known each other since about 1983.
Yes,
something
83.
like that. Yeah. And so just a little aside, a few years ago, I started doing some voiceovers for Oklahoma Sports Network.
That's right.
And so on Friday nights during football season, not every Friday, but many Fridays, and Adam, my son, is here, he can attest to this, I'll be watching my old alma mater, Lawton High Wolverines, class of 85, play on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Eric is often doing the play-by-play because he started this network. And so that's the connection here. And so I was down here yesterday. Check this out. Eric bought me lunch yesterday.
He went up to me.
Don't let that.
He did.
don't let that out.
So Eric bought me lunch. And he said, hey,
Well, I hadn't seen you since '92.
Exactly,
So,
yeah,
I think I
yeah.
owed
So-
you.
And
Yeah.
he probably has an expense account too.
Yeah, well,
Consider that.
maybe so. Well, Eric bought me lunch, and then afterwards he says, hey, come over and let me show you the studio. So he brought me over here. He showed me the studio where this isn't where he does his podcast from here. By the way, I would highly recommend you check out the Point After.
Yeah.
Right.
the point
It's
after-
the OSN.
debuted. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
the Point After podcast. So you can check that out. Well, this is where they record it. And so last night about 11 o'clock, I'm sure Eric was in bed. I just texted him and said, hey, Eric, could we use
I didn't
that?
see it till 7 in the morning.
Could we?
so
Could we use that?
it should have been 5 o'clock your
Yeah.
regular time.
Yeah.
Could we use that podcast studio to do our thing? And he's like, well, yeah, sure. So we've never done it or you've never crammed
No.
3 people into this space.
No.
I'm-
I usually have them as studio guests and I bring them in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
So
quite sure.
How
that
do you
should
do?
it
How
this
do
way.
you do that as a studio? They're in another place, right?
Right.
When you do- Okay. Yeah.
You
like
give
we
an
normally
invite and then you
Yeah.
invite
And that's the
them.
way I usually
Yeah.
do JR because
Yeah.
we
And
don't
then you'd
live in
have
the same-
different windows,
Yeah.
but we're all in the one
But we
space.
thought, inspired by Mo, Larry, and Curly, let's just all cram into one camera shot.
I'm not going to ask who's who.
Yeah.
One question I've got to establish though, in the very beginning, you have
Yes.
the intro.
Yeah.
When was that picture taken and when did you ever look like that?
That picture is only about 2 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't look anything like you.
When-
Look at this face now and look at the intro. And I said, Did you have
It's
Hollywood Clicks do that or something?
I clean up okay.
Okay.
No, I didn't. There's no
Really?
imagery.
Your hair was kind of
There's
like
no
that?
CGI. There's
He's
no,
no
it's-
There's no
filter.
AI?
no AI.
No filter.
All I did was make it black and white.
Okay.
So no, that's
it was
me.
good. I
That's me.
would not have recognized you
yeah,
in a
that's-
lineup.
that's
I,
me.
on the other hand, had to
JR looks
audition.
pretty much the same.
I had
Yeah.
to audition. I auditioned with 15 different actual photos, and I wasn't sure which one.
Which
he was
one?
gonna use.
It works though, So here's what I'm thinking, and I have zero plan for tonight's Live and Dangerous. I will
That's
just.
why it's live and dangerous.
There's no telling what could happen.
This
there
place
is-
could explode.
If you're joining us, we're not on Facebook tonight because they made us mad. So we're not on Facebook tonight, but we are on X and YouTube. So if you're watching via X or YouTube, doesn't it show us how many people are watching at some point, or does it?
Oh, you'd
not?
have to show me how that works.
I don't know. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not. But you know who you are. If you're watching, go ahead and chime in. I got a few regulars that like to chime in, and hopefully you'll chime in. I have very minimal agenda things. I have a few things I want to ask you guys while we're here. I do while we have Eric here. Eric worked in radio longer than I did, right? That's how we met. We both worked at the same radio station.
Mhm.
But Eric has stayed in the game a lot longer. You're not technically in radio anymore.
Mhm. It's true.
You're just in broadcasting because you got the Oklahoma Sports Network. But I have a few questions for you now. So think about when Eric and I came in, and I think your background's similar. We started at a little radio station in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Where you could, as a teenager,
Oh yeah.
get a job. You probably started out playing records, actual
Yes, I
vinyl
did.
records.
You had to cue records up.
cue
yeah.
records up
That's why they were called a disc jockey.
because
Yeah.
you were playing
right.
discs,
That's
and
right.
you would cue up the records. Your commercials were on those little tapes that we call carts.
All right.
Carts that look kind of like an 8-track tape,
Uh-huh.
but they're on tape. So that's the world we started in. Fast forward to today, Eric and I were talking about this a little bit because of what can I say, the syndication, the networkization of radio. Chances are, if I tune in a local radio station in Oklahoma, I'm going to hear the exact same feed
Uh-huh.
that another little radio station in Montana or Michigan would be playing. And what I'm saying is the days of a high school kid being able to get a shift at a radio station,
Yeah.
they're gone.
Yeah, that's because it was usually satellite radio that would
Mhm.
bring in those names from everywhere else.
Mhm.
And then when technology came where you can, just like we're doing now, connect the world through the internet and all of that stuff, because then none of that existed. And your local radio was, your local information. It was where you got your news, your music, your sports and stuff like that. So, and this marks, I was just thinking about it. I started in 1984. This marks 40 years
Wow.
of doing something. And I always thought, my grandfather, he retired from the railroad at 40. And when I was a young kid, I said, man, that's a lot of years doing
Yeah.
something. And
Yeah.
but I still love it. And I don't really look at it as 40 years,
Yeah.
it's been 40 years of fun, really.
Yeah. And so Eric you work mornings
I did
well,
afternoons. I've done
you
kind of
were
everything.
so when Eric and I worked together, the first time we worked at a station called KKRX.
K-Rocks. It
You
was
know what?
KRLG.
It was
and then It was
KRLG.
the new 98. And
That's
then they
when I
changed it.
started.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
I started, it was the new 98 KRLG, and I started in the spring
Careful now.
of '86.
Okay.
At KRLG,
Okay.
and
I was around there.
you were around. In fact, JR was one of my few friends that, like, at 1 a.m, I could call and I'd say, JR, I really need some tacos from Taco Bueno. And he'd run out.
I'd make the run.
That is a friend.
Yeah,
And then you had the run. So it all
And
kind of
then,
worked out.
exactly. Fortunately,
on so many different
fortunately,
levels.
the restroom was literally
Yeah,
right across
it
the
was.
hall.
If you played a long enough record,
I was
you
gonna say,
got-
did
well,
you have
give me the time.
a go-to song for
Uh,
that?
well, I did. Okay, and there were a few songs. Hey, I think at the new 98 we played "Hey Jude," which was like 612, something like
yeah,
that.
that was a long song. to be
So
able
you'd
to do
save
that.
those.
Yeah.
You'd save those. But here's the thing:
It wasn't Inagata Davida.
No, because
you could have gone and
you
got
could have
pizza
gone.
and come back.
So at 98, we were pretty
Yeah.
middle and MOR, right?
Yeah,
middle of the road, right? So we were playing pop music. However, and you have to confirm if this is true.
Okay.
For a brief time, I worked at Oklahoma's Best Country. I worked at KLAW 101
Oh, you did?
a little
All right.
while. You worked there a long
Yeah, I
time.
was there for a while.
You were the morning guy.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
with a couple of different partners. throughout the
So when I worked there, they had remote starts for the cart machine in the restroom.
years. Yeah, but someone got in very big trouble for that because they were owned by a conglomerate out of Austin, Texas,
Okay.
and occasionally the owner would come in and he used the restroom and he went ballistic when
When
they
he
found.
saw the cart.
Oh yeah, the engineer would be able to put the triggers for those in the
Dude,
bathroom. Yeah, yeah.
That was the best thing I ever saw. Because you could think about this, JR. Okay, I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest.
Brutally honest.
This is too much
That's why it's
information.
dangerous.
It is
and
dangerous.
live and dangerous.
Too much information. Okay, I have Crohn's disease.
Yes, I've known that.
We all know what Crohn's disease means.
Yes, it's
It
not-
means
not-
that
not
you
gonna
well.
find a
you
bathroom.
might, in a minute's, seconds notice.
Right now, in fact.
In fact, no. You like you gotta go like right now.
Right.
Let me just tell you, you could load up your 6 elements. So you got 6 cart machines. So think about this. You know, you're gonna have to play a sweeper. You're gonna maybe have to play a commercial. But you know, you load up 6 cart machines, which could mean you might have 4 songs loaded up. You might have 2 sweepers loaded up. I can be sitting on the toilet running my show. So I could be in there for 25 minutes.
And if
If
you
I
do
needed
it,
to,
if you
I
do
mean-
it long enough, that's probably where you wind up.
Yeah, that could be. And I'm not saying I did that, Eric, but I'm saying I could have done that.
Well, when they dismantled that, you
They
had
took it
to.
down.
They
Oh.
did. You, if you were in the day part, you could get like a salesperson, or you could actually get the receptionist.
To come
and they
cut-
were really frightened about
Run
it.
the
I said,
board.
No, no.
Yeah.
When this goes to nothing, just
hit
push
the
this button right
That's all you
there.
got to do.
Because it was on the countertop. They had 1, 2, 3, and you had to be careful if you had papers there because you could misfire,
Oh yeah.
and then you'd fire off a cart deck and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
these are good memories. 'Cause
These are-
I haven't thought of this in
these are
probably 20 years.
Great memories.
So is that the initial Live and Dangerous?
That
You
was-
hit the wrong.
It was totally, but
Now, don't tell me in the overnight because there was guys that were guilty of that made little shout outs to like pizza delivery guys, and then you would get
I did-
delivered for free stuff.
I did that.
That's Plugola Pale
Yeah,
back in the day
I'm
before
not. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I would say, hey,
The statute of
You call it-
limitations has
you
run out
call
on
it
that.
pizza time and say,
Right.
hey, you know, I'll give you a mention if you bring me a little
Right.
pizza.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, you're not supposed to do that. I got Richard, who we both know, who was a
Yes, Richard Rowe.
program director.
Mhm.
Yeah, he caught me one night. You know, it's middle of the night. It's 3 a.m. You're thinking, I can play this song that's not in the format.
What time was it?
It was like
2 a.m.?
2
Oh, 3.
a.m., 2
Okay.
a.m. And Richard had to be at work at 6. I'm like, Richard's not going to hear. He's got to be asleep. So I played Free Will by Rush
Oh,
on the new 98. So this is a
Oh,
MOR state.
okay,
This
right,
is
right.
a, you know, we're playing Ambrosia and, you know,
Yeah.
maybe some, you know, Laura Branigan or whatever. And all of a sudden I thought it'd be a good idea to play Free Will by
Right.
Rush.
I don't see the problem.
Well,
yes, Richard did.
Richard did. And the thing is, Richard likes the song, but he's
Right.
like, by the way, Jeremy, I heard you play Free Will last night.
That's a good impression.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
That's a very good impression.
By the way, Jeremy, I heard you play Free Will last night. Don't do that. That's all he said.
Okay.
So, anyways, but great memories. Great memories.
But then they wanted to change, and that's where the call letters came. Do you know the history of the KTRX?
Okay, so let me just say this. I
Okay.
left in February of '87. So I think it was shortly after that it be. When did you
I
arrive?
came in June of '87.
Okay. Were you still the new 98 then?
Yes, it was just at the very
Okay.
end, the very tail end of it, because I was there during the transition. of
Okay,
what
tell
they
me
were
about
gonna
that transition.
do. Okay, so KRLG, the new 98, and then they were going to do a format change. And they said, okay, what are we going to do? Well, KLaw was the big country station.
Yeah.
They weren't going to do that. Magic 95 was the pop station. They weren't going to compete with Top 40. So they said, let's do a rock station. So they had a long time to go find the call letters for it. And actually, the Navy had the KKRX and it was not being used. And they thought K Rocks, the Doctors of Rock, the KKRX, K Rocks,
Yeah.
that was solidified. They did a little exchange because the AM station was KCCO, which
Yeah.
was Comanche County,
Okay.
but there's the big stick in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that's WCCO,
Yes.
and they wanted that, so they got a little bit traded. So KCCO, because Mississippi is the dividing line between K's and W's, and so they got that, and then they took it to the Hard Rock Cafe. Do you remember the Hard Rocks?
I do. Yeah, totally.
Hard Rocks, ROXX.
Yes.
Hard Rocks
not
Cafe.
not the Hard Rock,
Rock.
Cafe
Right,
that we're
right.
all familiar with. Okay. The
No,
Hard Rocks.
plagiarism before
Exactly.
it was.
Okay.
Hard Rocks, and they had an effigy of KROG, and they didn't tell anybody what they were going to do. They were going to say that the station was done and it was all wrapped up, and they didn't really think this through because they lit the thing on fire, and it was an indoor venue.
Oh no.
Smoke went everywhere, but the KRLG, which was a paper banner, went, and then they had it made with the KKRX, and they unveiled that, and they went rock and roll, classic rock.
It was a cool logo.
Yeah, it was decent.
And I remember, and I know the people that were there at the time. I hadn't met you yet, but I had just left. But I know that Richard and Mike Jenkins and Bradley J. They were super excited about being a rock station.
They were big rock guys. Yeah.
I think it was Eric Sharam that, and I always remember this. We would joke about callers calling up and being mad, and this is where I remember. Correct me if I'm remembering this wrong.
Go ahead.
But Eric would always tell the story about, these people call up and are real mad, and they'll say, "Play some Skinner,
That's right.
Skinner." I just got it.
That sounds good.
They were
That's-
half drunk and half, there, and Freebird. That was
Freebird,
it was not just Skinner. It was Freebird.
And that's before this, guys. This is 30 years ago. This is
Right.
before. Now it's kind of the old joke about yell Freebird at the band,
Right.
but this literally was happening.
yeah.
Well,
So-
Oklahoma.
It is
home of the redneck.
That's right. So Skinner. Okay, so and here's another radio question.
Okay.
And we've talked about this a lot, right? We talk about the opportunity for a young person to get into radio. It's just not there like it used to be because of technology, because of the automation. It's just
The jobs aren't there,
and you
you don't need an overnight guy anymore. That
Exactly.
is completely piped.
you can't blame the stations
No.
because all of a sudden, hey, I'm only paying for one day part. I pay the morning guy. Everything else is syndicated, satellite, whatever you
true.
call it, for the rest of the day. So it makes sense from a money standpoint, but it's one of those things that we long for. I miss that, right?
The local connection.
The local connection. That's
You
what
lose
you
that.
really lose
Yep.
is the local connection. But similar to that, okay, think about how the music, not just the technology of radio, but the way music is purchased by people. The whole music industry has completely changed since
We go to
1989.
record stores, Hastings,
Yeah.
Half Price Records, and I still have my record LP collection,
Yeah.
but I did that mainly for the album art
Exactly.
and hoping that would be the next baseball card phenomenon because, I've got the Rolling Stones Sticky Fingers with the zipper down.
Yeah.
I have Physical Graffiti, with Led Zeppelin, and you can see the different people in the windows.
Mhm.
And the Beatles did stuff, and so I started collecting. Some of the most unique ones I think are just interesting. Like Jethro Tull had Thick as a Brick, and they had a folded up newspaper as a cover, and so I have that. And then I have Grand Funk Railroad, which was when you pull it out, the record is gold. And when you put it on a turnstile, it looks like it's going backwards and it's warped.
Oh, I don't have that one. That's
It
awesome.
is really a neat thing because it plays with your mind.
Yeah.
That you put it on the turntable and it does not go clockwise. It goes counterclockwise, and it does a thing like it looks like
Looks
it's
like it's
warped.
warped. You think
Mhm.
my record's messed up.
Right.
That is awesome. And so I've mentioned this before, but that just reinforces it. The tactile experience that
organic.
was a record. You'd take it home, you'd open it up, you'd sit on your bed and listen to it. You'd open up the gatefold, you'd read the lyrics.
Mhm.
That every single one, we can remember what a new record smells like.
Mhm.
You remember that?
Oh yeah.
kids today, oh, you dang kids, I'll sound like an old guy when I say it, but I am old, Eric. Kids today won't have that experience. And that makes me sad, and so now we've gone from,
No, but LPs are making a comeback.
they are,
I mean, and Cracker Barrel is selling the
They-
record players.
yeah,
and they've
yeah.
got records for
You're
sale.
right.
So the retro, there's another generation that says we missed out on that, but maybe cassettes, you can forget that.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
and then 8-tracks and even CDs. But the LPs have somewhat made a comeback.
you're right. Will they?
I don't know how much staying power
Yeah,
it has
yeah.
because everything is downloadable. It's iTunes. It's I subscribe to a music thing, and
Mhm.
so being a musician, that's a different subject matter
Yeah.
about trying to get out there and you don't need a record label. You
Well,
don't need all
and
that.
so, and I've mentioned this before. Not that I'm a big fan or super familiar with her work, but Billie Eilish, right?
Mhm.
Billie Eilish and her brother recorded an album in the bedroom,
Yeah.
in the
Wow.
bedroom,
Yeah.
and it's a platinum album.
Yes, but I think though what has changed a little bit, at least in why kids are now going back and finding the LP, is because it's loyalty to the artist in an area where we're probably just most artists are decrying the point that there's no more money to be made
Right, right.
by this music, and so we're bypassing traditional methods of how they would a record company would promote an album. And sometimes, I mean, we talked about how in the 50s they dominated. You had guys who had talent that couldn't get any kind of record deal. At least now the talent is available, and then when they get to a certain level, I think the allegiance of the fans comes down to, I want to have that album. They recognize that it shows a certain level of loyalty. And it's interesting because some of the performers now are releasing that LP in several different versions,
Yeah.
covers wise, which goes back to what we did. I mean, you might have an album, but if it came out with a special edition or different something added,
You'd go buy it.
you'd go buy it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
my favorite, because that's my group.
Yeah, no,
So
and I think
you
I
had to
hope,
have some kind of allegiance.
I hope you're right, because, they decry the streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, because they don't make hardly any money on those. at
Yeah,
all.
exactly.
And yet you can't not sell on Spotify because that's the way people listen to music.
Well, Garth didn't do any of that,
Yeah,
right? And
right.
Def Leppard had not, right?
They were late
There's
to
a
that.
couple of
Yeah.
holdouts
Yeah.
for that.
The
I remember
Eagles-
I had to
yeah.
go get Def Leppard's greatest hits on CD because they didn't have
went
any. I
streaming.
want to download it, and I
Yeah.
wanted to say, so I had to go.
You
I
had to go buy
do
it.
that. Yeah. And that was when Hastings was closing their doors here.
Right.
And I ran over there, and everything was discounted. I said, I need the Def Leppard because I really, and that was the 80s, 90s, and that just remembers a lot of that. I love the classic rock stuff, but that was that transition of even Whitesnake.
Yeah.
I like those, that era right there of that 90s.
But you notice they're all on it now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So,
Eventually you get on it.
You have to, but but the on the one hand,
Well, how do you see a young individual getting into radio now? How
well,
do you hatch?
into
How do you
radio, I don't know
hatch
how
a
you
morning
get in.
DJ?
I think, to be honest, I think a lot of those folks that maybe would have done radio in the past are probably doing podcasts. Do you think so?
That's a good likelihood. Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Here, this is the good and the bad and the ugly of it, and all driven by technology. The barriers of entry are gone, right? You talked about the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Back then, there were a few record companies, and they had to sign you. They had
Play
to
the
like
game.
you
Yep.
and play the game. Now, anyone can make an album, and think about the artists that are mega famous now that started out on YouTube or started out in. Justin Bieber was a YouTube kid.
Well,
There are many artists that
Yeah.
just made a video on YouTube
Mhm.
and they build their own brand. So from that standpoint, it's awesome. But, for an artist, the downside is you don't make money. And so you think about the 70s, the classic rock, Led Zeppelin has a plane with a fireplace in it. That's
Yeah, but-
never going to happen again.
But they are making the money out on the venues, concerts.
That's-
like my daughter was excited. Benson Boone
I don't know who that is.
Well, you're late to the
I'm
game.
old. Yeah.
Here's
okay.
the thing. Here's the thing. The same thing's happening. It's just happening in a different way.
Yeah.
My daughter wants to be the first to decry the point that she was on this artist early.
Yeah.
I knew
I knew him before he was popular.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was. She actually numbers, which I was number 203 on the follower.
Wow.
So she knew who she was, and she has plans to see him in concert in Oklahoma City. And yet he was not. She got him through Instagram.
What's the name?
Benson Boone.
And is he a country artist?
No,
Or
he's mainstream. He's
Okay.
pop. He's pop, and he's really got some good stuff. But the point being is, what I thought was we've come full circle, because how many times was I wanting to be the first guy that I had Bon Jovi
Yeah.
when I had to walk in the snow to Sound Discount
Yeah,
Center,
yeah.
and it was a Canadian album, so you had to wait till it got there, and then I got it and played the heck out of it, and I thought I had found them. That I'm the one that discovered Bon Jovi.
Well, it's and I'm trying not to sound like the old guy.
But
Well, in our day, it was so much better. You know.
But it does feel
It was
good.
different.
It
Yeah.
feels good that some of these things. They say fashion comes in circles. Maybe radio does the
I
same
thought
thing.
it was your day. It was
So,
the
I
Edison just came out with the cylinder.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Watson.
don't know. Oh,
Jeremy,
yeah.
come
It
in
was-
here.
Well, but here's the thing. This is what I appreciated getting together with Eric about yesterday. Is, we both had kind of the radio background, but we're both kind of trying to do the same thing with
Yeah.
podcasts.
That's true.
And so it was very interesting to talk to Eric. He's sports, obviously.
Mhm.
But
I think he could be rock and roll.
he
too.
could be totally,
Oh, yeah.
he could
Yeah.
be rock and roll too. But here's the thing about Eric though, is all the time I've known him, he's been a sports guy, right? So even working at the rock station, he's out doing play-by-play for high school basketball or football or whatever. So that's just always been part of his MO. So it made total sense that he does the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Well, Jeremy, let's just slip back a little bit before your actual DJ days.
Yeah.
Okay, you and I used to ride on a school bus to away games.
Del City. Okay, all these games that you call,
Yeah.
all the Lawton
Yeah,
High
it's one of our
games.
schools in the right.
And what was our job? Because we were both in journalism.
We did like updates. You called into the radio
Yes, I
station.
called into the radio station. They would plug me in live.
Yeah.
And what would happen is if I got it right the first two times it was taped, but if I didn't get the first two good enough,
Yeah.
the third one was live.
You just have to.
You
do it
just
live.
had to be. You
We're
said,
going.
we're going
We're
live.
rolling. Yeah,
And
I remember
you'd
that.
run up to the press box, call in.
Yeah.
They'd put you on live. You'd tell just a brief quarter by quarter.
But that's when the radio was
Yeah,
local. And
exactly.
it was connected. And now
Yeah.
it's all on your phones. It's just a different way of
Yeah.
consuming.
And
Yeah,
the
information.
way
Yeah.
the way I remember that is we're all at the game, cheering on the Wolverines, and then Eric says, "Oh crap, I got to go give my update," and then he'd leave, call in the radio station to do his update, and then if I remember right, we just made fun of you.
Yeah,
I
you
think
made
that's
in
pretty
my
much all.
abs, in my essence. You made
Yeah,
fun of me.
yeah.
Or while I was
That's
live
all I
on-
remember
okay.
that.
Yeah,
But-
I made several bad.
But the more important part is on the way home, JR and I would have our own what do you call it, talk show.
Yeah,
all
talk
the way-
show, rehash
Yeah,
everything,
rehash.
important items of the day.
People would turn around and say, "Would you guys shut up?"
They're trying to sleep here.
Because we're like doing the
When we interviewed each other
We interviewed each other.
regarding
Yeah, whatever.
rock and roll history.
It didn't matter.
yeah, we had fun.
So this podcast then is just an extension of that. And we were honestly worried about the damage this might do to the Oklahoma Sports Network brand. Having you on there, so
Not going to cover it up.
Yeah. Just let's
Take it
go.
down. Take it down.
Cover that out. So, anyways, but I did want to say this. Okay, we have we'll be. I'm gonna make a prediction. By the end of the week, we will be over 65,000 followers on
Wow.
X.
Nice.
so
By the end of the week.
Nice.
So, and I don't know what the percentage is, but we have followers in Oklahoma.
Mhm.
And so anyone listening right now, and this will get replayed, later, you can watch this later. I do want to plug OSN
Well, yeah.
because football is king, man.
And-
And I love watching those high school games.
Mhm.
There's the nostalgia factor, right? So I would just say, follow the Oklahoma Sports Network. There are apps everywhere.
Mhm.
You can go into Roku, Apple TV, all the various
Amazon
Fire Stick. Yeah, it's all there. So you can just have that as an app, and we watch it all the time. You're on oksportsnet.com. Is that your website?
Good. I should hire you.
Oh, I know. Well, oksportsnet.com. You guys should check that out. The website's there. But think about this. This is what I love about your model. And I'm trying to think of a way to steal this, and I don't know how to make it work. But if you're like a parent and you got kids playing sports, you can watch every game, every away game. That's
Yeah.
something that would never have happened when
Right.
unless
No.
your parents bundled up and drove to Dell City.
Which didn't happen.
Didn't oh heck no. So it's cool.
And
Eric,
they asked you when you came back, how did the game?
how'd the game
They
go?
had no
No,
idea.
no
They had no-
scores.
Yeah.
Now it's instant information.
It's
They
right
had
there.
to wait for you to come back.
And
Who won?
So
Yeah.
Eric told me, you didn't tell me, I heard this on your first podcast, and I had never thought about this, but he got an email from someone at Guantanamo Bay
Yes.
who worked at Guantanamo Bay who
Yeah.
said, hey, I was able to watch all my old buddies,
Well, the alma mater. It's my old school.
my
and I
old
got to-
school.
yeah, yeah.
I was able
Mhm.
to watch that game from Guantanamo Bay, and
Yeah.
someone else in Europe or
It
whatever
was in Germany.
who's
yeah.
watching their daughter play
Softball.
softball.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I would actually go another measure in that to say that when you're with the broadcast and the color analyst, they have a different spin and a different feel,
Yeah,
and it does seem more hometown than
totally.
Yeah.
so you're almost there. In
Now,
fact,
Almost.
my father
Here we go.
actually, you don't get real replays.
I'm moving that closer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't get replays when you're at the game. However, if you have your phone, you do.
That's
and
right.
That's what
Absolutely.
my
And they're
father.
about
I didn't think about that.
30 seconds behind real time.
Yeah, so,
So
you
if you
can
get
go
it, you
back
can
and
just
go,
pull it right up
let's
and
watch
that's-
the
there it
replay.
is.
Yeah.
And-
That's what my father did at the home games here. He
Very nice.
pulls up.
And here's another little side story. I'll just tell this. And this wasn't by design. This is just how it works out. JR's is a physical therapist.
Most days.
Most people don't think JR has any appreciable talent,
No,
but
not
actually
whatsoever.
he's a professional physical therapist. He actually is a sponsor on the Oklahoma Sports
That's right.
Network.
Well, I recognize good talent. when
That's
I saw it,
awesome.
and,
So are you one of the do you like sponsor the kickoff, or
We
you
actually-
sponsor the unsportsmanlike penalty calls?
That's the
how you sponsor-
unsportsmanlike.
No,
Anywhere I
What
can
do they-
fit in.
Yeah, what do they sponsor?
They're actually a TV commercial package where you
Nice.
get a 30-second commercial of Valor Physical Therapy. Yeah.
Yeah, we were on early too.
Yeah,
I
He was an
actually
early adopter. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So
I've seen that.
well,
I've seen that. I didn't know that was your company.
it is, and more importantly, what happens is we have patients who come in, and
Uh-huh.
we're dealing with athletes, injuries,
Yeah.
things like that. So it gives us another reach where somebody has come in, been able to watch the game, and they may mention that they saw us, maybe not, but the point is, there's at least an avenue where we're getting our name out there, and there's response from the community.
I just had an idea, Eric.
This could be a
How would-
first.
How would this be? What if we had professional style wrestling at the high school level, and you guys could have it on
Sure.
OSN?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I could sponsor it. I could buy the package deal. Is that what?
Yeah, that's-
Well,
Okay,
Jeremy,
well,
I want to be Hacksaw Jim.
There you go.
I'm not going to spoil you there, but that actually has been done already.
Oh.
Lawton High sponsored professional wrestling.
Did they
Yes,
really?
they did in the gym. And it
Oh.
was to help raise money
Okay.
for the.
Okay. That's a
Team
whole
to
nother
go out.
chapter.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
another episode.
I
We could-
wasn't.
We could totally do. I just had a flashback to JR and I visiting a trailer park where they had a full-on wrestling ring set up,
Yes.
and JR and I did play-by-play for the neighborhood kids
Exactly.
wrestling. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I was going to go there, but I wanted to hold off.
Oh
until-
no, that's
yeah.
good stuff. We'll have to find that out. Okay, so let's steer this back into classic rock just a little bit. Here's a guy. Here's what I never prepped you guys for, but I asked this question and I'll ask it again. And I'd like for folks to email me, classicguitarrock@mail.com, classicguitarrock@mail.com, or just chime in right here. We're scaring everyone away. No one is chiming in live, but
Where do you see that? I didn't know
It'll
this.
pop up. It'll
Yeah,
pop
usually-
up right
it
here.
usually gives you
we'll
a
get
prompt, a
message
prompt.
just pops
And
right
and
up.
then usually it we curb the
We
communication.
But
to,
I just thought of
acknowledge it.
something.
Right.
Okay, hang on. I just thought of something.
Operator failure.
Like we got 2 comments up here.
Oh
See,
my
there
gosh.
it is.
We've missed it all. Okay, so I'm gonna hang on. Marlon is our guys. We didn't have him open. We've been missing the comments. So Marlon and I are friends because he's got one of my favorite albums.
Oh, Shinka.
That's Assault Attack. For my money, the greatest Michael Schenker album. Marlon's saying, "What in the world?" I don't know the context of that. It
Well,
might
you
be
need to-
about what we're doing,
I
what
think-
we're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
What are you
It
guys talking
has
about?
nothing to do with classic guitar rock.
What is it?
Well, it's the origins of our classic
Yeah.
rock.
So, and then let's see. Okay, thank you, Marlon. Chime in. Hopefully you're still watching. At some point, Eric and between Eric and JR, there's no way he's listening. Anyways, I won't take any of that responsibility. Okay. He says, "What are you doing?" Well, you missed the first part of the show, Marlon. I'm in Lawton, Oklahoma with my 2 buddies that I go way back with. And so we're just doing the broadcast from here, from Oklahoma Sports Network studio.
Yeah, it is live and dangerous.
It's live
and we're not afraid to
and
take
dangerous. Yeah. So, and then this is I don't know who this is, 200 Pounds of Sin. Do you guys take music submissions? No. But thank you for checking in.
Was it 200 pounds of sin? Is that
is that what it was? 200 Pounds of Sin?
something like
Oh,
that?
let's
That
see
was
here.
the
So
thing.
we're going to bring that
I was,
back up.
I was.
Yeah, 200 Pounds of Sin. Do you guys take music submissions? We don't per se, but we talk about classic rock. So thank you so much for watching. See, I didn't have the right
Okay, I
field
see
up.
it now.
So they'll come up like that. So next time do you do yours live?
No,
Okay, because I was going to say, if you do your lives, I'll chime in and heckle,
Okay, I
heckle
got
you.
you. I got you.
When you okay.
I'm going to do that on Facebook more now that I
There
know
you
that
go.
that's an open forum. I always want to be a secret watcher of yours.
Yeah.
Like I won't click on it, then
No,
you
you
don't know
should.
it's, and then say, "Hey,
You
Eric's
should.
here. Let's."
So my friend, and I won't call him out. And we're not on Facebook tonight because we were having some technical problems. But my friend Will,
Yes, who always.
yeah, he always chimes in. I'm not gonna. What's the word they use nowadays? I'm not gonna dox him. Is that the
Oh
word?
yeah,
Dox?
don't dox him.
I'm not doxing him, but I will say he's a senior law enforcement official.
Yes, that's all
And
we
he's
need
not
to say. That's all
allowed-
we need to say.
He's not allowed to talk on the podcast.
I didn't know that.
No, he's
Oh.
not. No, if he comes,
Forbidden
no,
from the
from-
higher ups.
no, from me.
Oh,
Oh,
No, because
that's a nice.
he has incriminating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah,
so there's statute of limitations, but we don't do that. So yeah, Marlon, I just got together with Eric and JR, and we're reminiscing. But here's the question, and here's where Marlon, I know you can chime in. I've asked this question before, and I'm going to ask it again because I think it's a fascinating question. It's a 2-part question. Here's the first part of the question. These guys have no idea what I'm about to ask them.
never do.
I want you to think of an artist that you really like as a person. You think they're pretty cool. You like interviews with them. When you see them, you're like, he seems like a pretty cool dude, but you're just not a big fan of their music.
Oh,
You want to like them, but you just can't. Can
Is
you?
it just in rock?
I'd like to keep it rock, but it
Okay.
doesn't have to be rock.
All right.
Eric's gotten old, so he's not
Yeah.
a rock and roller anymore.
No, that's not true. I have my iPod is like 1,100
Oh, wow.
different
So, yeah,
songs in it.
okay.
And it tells you, Apple is really good at this. It says like, I have 3.5 days worth of music.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I could put it on and say, I
Still.
won't have to come back. That's
That's
4
nice.
days. Anyway,
So
that's,
can you, and it doesn't have to be rock,
okay.
but so can either of you, because I have a few names I could spit out right away that I like the dude or the woman, the man. I like
Right.
the person and I want to like their music, but I don't like their music that much. Can you think of anyone like that? I'll get you started to prime the pump.
you're gonna have to.
Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
I love Alice Cooper.
I like listening
the
to
person.
interviews as a person.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
neat guy.
and he's
Yeah.
got a great story.
Yeah, he does.
I
would echo that.
And I don't hate his music. I just don't. really dig his music. Now, this is I don't think Russell's answering our question specifically. He says, love the classic rock, April Wine, one of my favorites. I love April Wine.
Everyone likes it.
I love April Wine. But our question, Russell, you might have just heard me ask it. Is there an artist that you really like them as a person, but you're not wild about their music? Has anyone thought of? Because I'll give you another one. I got more.
You're gonna have.
I got more.
I'm thinking.
Uh,
I was thinking Dee Snider to a degree.
Dee Snider
I
is
like
one of
him.
mine.
I
I,
like
do like
There's
him.
only one thing though. I mean, we're not going to take it.
Well,
No,
here's
I
the-
know.
here's
Twisted
the-
Sister,
Well, that's
I
the
mean,
thing.
but here's the thing, Eric, and this is something Jeremy commonly does to me. He allows you to qualify your answer.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you can
qualify.
you can
Yeah.
answer the question and then explain it in your terms how you actually selected it. It's not
Okay.
a scenario. So I often finesse.
That's almost
I
a
finesse
one-hit
it.
wonder.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
how-
finesse it.
You didn't have enough
It's-
material for me to
it's-
like.
I would say they're a two-hit one.
Well,
Okay,
here's
all right.
there are things that you can like.
For the 80s hair
Yeah.
bands.
Well, Dee Snider testified in Congress
did.
Against Tipper Gore,
Yeah.
and he came off. They thought they were going to get somebody who was a rock and roll, couldn't put two sentences together,
Yeah.
and what they got was a real package deal of that
Absolutely.
explained. And if you weren't a Dee Snider fan before that, you
You
walked
probably
away.
were. And
you were
I
after
love-
that.
I loved how he pulled his notes out of his back pocket.
Yeah, he
folded
was
up
ready
on
to go.
Bodies, yeah.
I think I've got one.
Okay,
Ted
let's-
Nugent.
Ted Nugent. Okay,
Uncle
so,
Ted.
I like the guy, and he's a Michigan guy. We share
Yeah.
the same birthdays.
Yeah.
I mean, he's born December 13th. I know all of the stuff about Ted
Whoa.
Nugent, like that, and
Yeah.
Motor City Madman. I just Stranglehold. Yeah, okay. And then I liked him with the damn Yankees,
Yeah.
because his guitar stuff was there. But like him, but yeah, I
You're
don't-
not
I don't
into
care
so,
for
and he's
music.
he's a controversial figure.
Well, I
right?
understand.
Because he's very outspoken,
Right.
like a Dee Snider.
Mhm.
So, but on the other hand, that first Ted Nugent album, that's a pretty dang good album.
Is that the one with Cat Scratch?
No, that's later. But the
Okay.
first album, yeah, see, to me, he's one that I like his music slightly better than I like him. I mean, I don't dislike him.
You're on the
right?
reverse. Okay,
You're
so
on the
that's a
reverse.
whole new category.
That's the next category.
Okay,
So-
that's the
okay,
follow-up.
So,
Okay.
but here's another one. Here's another one. John Bon Jovi. I'm not a super huge fan of John Bon Jovi's music, but I like him. Any interview I've seen with him, and he's the type of guy, Alice Cooper the same way. He goes out and does good stuff without trying to get noticed. He doesn't do it for publicity,
Which is
You
the
know,
right,
which is great. So he's another one.
Yeah, but see, I was dyed in the wool, John. But
You
I think
were a
I've already-
fan from the
I actually
beginning.
already said that
Yeah.
too, and now I'm not
So-
sure how we
So
could be
JR was a fan of John Bon Jovi so long that he saw Bon Jovi opening for
friends.
Rat.
For Rat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
And-
how long
and
he
that
goes
was
back.
at Tulsa Fairgrounds. It was something.
That
else.
was like, what was that?
Round, that's
what was
another
that? What was
one-hit wonder. Round and round. I mean, it's a,
well, here's the thing. Now, Rat for me
Yeah.
was more than that.
Yeah.
I actually got a haircut.
Oh, yeah, he did. He got the
I
haircut.
had the hair
Yeah.
down. I was a Stephen Piercy
You
fan.
gotta go back and listen to our episode on Rat.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
It's-
I was in it, man. I
It
was
was-
wanting to be like bounce around on the stage. Actually, we saw Rat more than once.
that was a seminal moment
Yeah.
for both of us.
yeah.
We won tickets from a radio station for a Rat poster we
yes,
made.
we collaborated.
So we go. Be careful about
yeah, there's
talking
some,
about
yeah,
Rat
let's
around
not talk.
us.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah,
throwing that out. there. So
Yeah.
we're Rat. We're
In fact,
Rat
Stephen
fanatics.
Piercy is
Stephen Piercy follows
He
us.
follows us.
really?
Yeah, we're
Now I've offended somebody.
No,
so-
no,
no.
no.
Hey, if you that's one thing we aren't afraid to do here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We've
Well,
been-
it's dangerous.
No.
We've been
so-
offensive on multiple
Yeah,
levels.
exactly. But can you think of any other artists you like the person? But let's see. Russell says Cheap Trick is probably my choice, and Ted Nugent. I agree, love his music, but not him personally. Okay, so I have to clarify this, Russell. So are you saying you like Cheap Trick but not their music, or are you saying you like their music but not them, or you just like both of them? Because I think I get your point on Ted. By the way, JR and I have also seen Cheap Trick together a
Yes,
few times.
yes. I love
So
that. but
Oh, I saw
maybe
Ted Nugent, but with the damn Yankees.
with damn Yankees.
well,
Okay,
well,
all right.
Right now,
you got everything. You got, you got.
But he,
I love that.
but
Yeah.
he could be speaking to the the Bunny DiCarlo debacle.
How they could
Maybe
could
maybe
be
he's talking
Cheap
about
Trick's
that
is
because
probably my choice. And
they
Ted
could-
Nugent. Oh, so
so I'm saying
Cheap Trick is probably my choice, comma. So that's probably his choice of the band. He likes the band. He likes the people. Not so much into their music, which I could see. I could see that, I guess.
Well, I
But then
would-
he's saying, and Ted Nugent, he agrees with me, loves his music, but not him personally.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it's flip side. Anyway, like I said, we're allowed to clarify here.
Yeah, for sure. And here's another one. So Marlon says, Blackie Lawless now.
Gotta love Wasp.
JR had a Wasp thing for a while.
Oh, I did.
Blackie Lawless is a good guy these days, but never got into Wasp. And you know what, Marlon? I completely agree. I completely agree.
I like,
I've never liked Wasp.
no, I like
Can
Wasp.
we
but
still be friends?
no,
I've never liked
but here's the
Wasp's
problem,
music,
though. And
but I do like Blackie
you know, I
Lawless.
spent a little bit of time in the Bay Area, San
Okay.
Francisco, and before I moved back, I was afraid that I was going to damage albums because at this point, Transit number 2, you know, back
Yeah,
and forth,
moving.
you lose it. So I went in to Rasputin Music and I asked them the value of the albums I had, thinking, you know, the ones that I prized the most, because I used to open them with a razor.
Yeah.
And you be careful how you took them out. But Wasp, of all the albums I had, the Wasp album was the highest rated, highest valued
Holy
album.
cow.
And the reason why is because the print. It wasn't this printed. It was, you know, here I'm thinking it's going to be, you know, something that's popular.
Right.
But no, the money's paid more for rarer albums. So the less
Okay.
play it got. So, but mind you, I was not I had one album. Okay.
Mhm.
And I did like that album,
Mhm.
but they lost me a little bit later. You know, they were using the saw blades on their
Yeah,
shoulder.
yeah.
My mom, she allowed you a little bit of room, but
But when
if-
she saw
I had
that-
to hide the album.
When she saw the saw blade,
yeah,
on
saw
his-
blade blood on
Yeah,
the saw
yeah,
blade.
Well, then Molly Hatchet must
Molly
have really
Hatchet.
scared her.
Molly
on
Hatchet
all the
albums.
album covers of that.
Boy, talk about false advertising.
That's
With
right.
Molly
And I
Hatchet.
always thought Molly Hatchet has got to be, based on the album cover,
the
the hardest rock of
Yeah.
anything. And you go on and you go, that it was anything,
that's a bunch of
anything like that they're
rednecks
covering.
with beer bellies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. But I love Molly Hatchet, by the way. I love Molly
I
Hatchet.
know
The
a
music,
couple of songs
the
on it.
first 3 albums. Whoa. We've seen Molly Hatchet. I
Yes,
guess, too.
they actually
We saw Cheap Trick with Molly Hatchet.
and
Okay, I know I'm throwing you off gear, but
No.
what was your very first concert you saw?
Very first concert I saw.
do you remember when Uriah Heep came to Lawton,
I
America?
do remember that.
I
And
didn't
who
see
did they
Foghat
come with?
came.
Yes, Foghat came.
I didn't
Uriah-
see that one.
I didn't see
Roger
Uriah's-
Earl was the
okay.
only one.
Only original
that
one,
was
yeah.
the drummer.
Yeah.
It
'Cause-
was kind of like, you know, the
Uh,
rock station was trying to bring an old classic
So-
rock group.
So the very first concert that I saw was, I don't think this is the
Should have
first.
made a big impression on you.
Yeah,
It
but
did
here's,
make,
but
it
here's the
did make a
problem.
big
Jeremy's
impression.
been to a lot more.
I've been to a
concerts.
lot.
He's been to a lot.
Yeah,
of
the
concerts.
very first concert I saw
Was it in Oklahoma?
It was in Spokane.
That's what I was thinking.
Really?
it
You
was-
didn't see anything locally?
Not before. No.
His first.
Like,
You said
the
first.
See, I
Oh,
lived in Spokane for 2 years
Okay,
before I
got you,
came
before you
back.
I got you.
So I saw Ozzy Osbourne, Diary of a Madman, 3 months after Randy Rhoads died.
Mm.
So it was Brad Gillis from Night Ranger who was on guitar.
Oh, you couldn't have had a better,
And
better option.
it was, you said not wanting your mom to see that. It was one of those deals. Like I had to hide my Ozzy Osbourne albums
Yeah.
from my mom.
Well, he was Satan.
Well, yeah, he was.
He
That's
bit
the way
the
they
head.
He
spun
bit
it.
the, he
He
bit
bit
the
the head
bad
off,
head and had to
exactly,
get
so-
rabies shots. And,
yeah.
you know.
So
we used to imitate that.
so that was the first one. But yeah, to JR's point, from 82 to about 87, I saw pretty much everyone you can see.
Okay.
You know, I never saw Aerosmith, but actually during that time frame, remember they didn't really come back again until about 86.
Yeah.
It was
No,
the Walk
90s,
This
yeah.
Way that
Right.
saved them when they
Yeah,
did the
Run-
remake
Run-
with
Run
Run
DMC.
DMC. Yeah. But so they weren't really doing much from 82 to 86. So I didn't see them. Pretty much everyone else I saw.
I got to see
What?
Stevie Ray Vaughan the year that he died. It was I saw the Stones in Kansas City. I was row 17,
Wow.
dead center from the Steel Wheels tour. That was always most memorable.
Mhm.
But the used to have the Texas Jam and the Cotton Bowl.
Yes, with the Who.
And they had the Who,
Yeah.
and it was the Fabulous Thunderbirds
Yeah.
and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then later on the helicopter crash. But I was never, I knew Stevie Ray Vaughan, but he won me over when he did live. And when
Yeah.
he was playing his guitar behind his back and his teeth,
Yeah.
and the crowd was going nuts, and
Yeah.
it was hot, and his brother was in the Fabulous T-Birds,
Yeah,
and so he brought his brother up on stage, and they did a little thing, but
yeah.
that was
A great
that was a
show.
memorable show, yeah.
So
Yeah, but
Pete Townsend
well-
broke his arm, but they said he's not going to do the windmill because is in a
he's in a
cast,
cast.
and he did it.
He
anyway.
still did.
Oh, he did.
Wow.
I love.
well, Jeremy's the one that turned me on to SRV, so I do. A little
So
bit about
did
Stevie
you
Ray.
buy me the album or did I buy you the album?
You bought me the album.
Okay,
on
or
Stevie
one
Ray
of us
Vaughan.
bought the Live Alive
You bought me
for
that.
the other. So
We've really gone down rabbit
Steel-
trails.
Well,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay.
No,
Steel,
yeah.
Steel Wheels. Steel
Yes.
Wheels.
Rolling Stones.
You mentioned that. Did you see that tour
Yeah, I
with
saw-
Living Color open for him?
yes, and I felt so bad for him because here's all these Stones fans, right? And Living Color was just semi decent,
Yeah,
just
they were okay.
and we knew them, they're okay. And I said, oh my, who could you get as an opener
Right.
for the Stones when they were coming back? It was the Steel Wheels tour, and that thing, they had two separate stages
Yes.
because they had to put so much steel up. The other one was setting up while the other one was playing,
Yeah.
and then they would would circle out.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to see him in Dallas. Long story short, and then I go up to the Kansas City. I drove, and this is how insane when you're young. I had a radio show to still do that. There was a Sunday night show. Went to the Rolling Stones concert
And had to make it
and
back.
had to come back for the Monday afternoon show. So we drove, and the show ended like at midnight.
Yeah.
So we drove 6
Barrel
hours
all the way
back. I got like a couple hours of sleep, but
Yeah,
it was all
You
worth
do
it.
that. Yeah.
And my only other disappointing aspect of shows was I was supposed to see Robert Plant in Lloyd Noble.
Oh. Ooh.
And well, it doesn't get good because it's a bad, sad story.
Oh,
Joan Jett
big
opened up for Robert Plant, right?
Oh.
And Joan Jett, I felt it's like Living Color. Okay, would you get off the stage? We're not here to see you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I apologize. Let's get to the thing. And there was big long pause, and they came out and they said Robert Plant's drummer fell in the shower and broke his arm, and they would not do the show, and they had to reschedule it. And I bought my Robert Plant T-shirt.
You
right?
already had the shirt?
I had the shirt, and I was going to be on vacation back to Michigan when they were going to come back and do it. So I had to sell it to a friend.
So
So
you-
I never
so
got to
you
see
never
Robert
got to
Plant.
see it. So
No. I was there. He was there, but never came on.
exactly. So here's okay. And
These
Mark,
are
Was that
concert mishaps.
was that the time frame like Big Log that
Yeah, no.
A little
This
later.
was Now and Zen.
now and then?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
which
that was-
would have been was
Uh,
that Lighten Up Baby? I'm in love
yes,
with you.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right,
That's
okay.
it.
So okay, Ronnie Wood. This is back as and I kind of agree. I'm not a huge Stones fan, but I
Right.
was going to tell you a Stones story really quick. I love Ronnie Wood,
Yeah.
and I love Charlie Watts. I love both of those guys. So Marlon says Ronnie Wood is a good one for me. Great dude, but not a Stones fan. I love the Faces though. I love the Faces too. So you mentioned that Steel Wheels show at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas,
No, it was Kansas City.
right? But you
Oh,
were
the
gonna
Who, the
see
Who.
him. But were you going to see the Stones originally in Dallas? I thought that's what
No,
I heard
no,
you
no.
say. Okay,
No,
so
I went. Oh yeah, but I could not.
You
Yeah,
couldn't
you're right.
make it,
I
yeah.
could not make it, so
So-
I found the next date, and that's why I went to Kansas City.
so
Correct.
let Eric and I spent a few years as radio rivals, right? Because I worked
yeah, you were.
I worked for a
competitive
few
radio
months at KKRX, but then I went to Magic 95, which was another station in town. Well, we did one of those things where we took a bus of people to
Oh,
Steel
okay.
Wheels,
Right.
and guess who
Fan bus.
guess who the chaperone was of that? The very responsible 22-year-old All-American Jeremy Grant was
The
the
All-American.
was the
I
chaperone.
can't. That was your
Yeah.
slogan line.
Yes.
I have not heard that
Yeah.
since you left.
So-
the All-American. That's right.
Yeah. So, and she wasn't my wife at the time,
Yeah.
but my wife was a part-timer at Magic.
Uh-huh.
So Laura and I, her air name was Lauren. Lauren Summers was her air name. So Jeremy Grant and Lauren Summers were the chaperones. We're the responsible adults on the Rolling Stone bus.
They didn't know.
It was a good show. You know, we got there so late. We literally saw
The end of Living Color.
we saw the end. We saw them play Cult of Personality.
Okay, that's
That's
it.
all
They
you
saved it for
needed.
last. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then the Stones came on. So, but we didn't get back till like
Oh, they
five in
played
the
a long
morning.
set.
Yeah, we
They
got
did.
back at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, but it
You know,
was
Mick Jagger
bus
climbed
ride.
up on the very top. They still in the Sympathy for the Devil.
uh-huh.
I mean, and he wasn't young then. I mean,
Right.
you can't do it now. But
yeah,
he scaffolded up there and then sang out. It was all that.
they had the
theatrics. It was
big
nice.
inflatable
Oh yeah,
ladies on the
Yeah, for,
honky tonk.
yeah,
girl.
honky tonk
yeah,
one, yeah.
that was crazy. So, anyways, what was our question? Oh, it was
Oh, about who you like. and,
Okay, well, it's
yeah.
just it dissented. It was a
But you
descent
said-
into madness.
Yeah,
from
but
that
you
point.
said you were going to follow it up with.
Oh,
another-
the follow-up question that Eric already talked about was, who's someone that you love their music, but you just really don't like them?
practically everyone.
A lot of them. Well, yeah, lately,
well,
you
I
know,
would like to say I like Journey.
the one, man, Journey has been such a
I
thing lately.
like them, but
They fight so much.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. You think of these guys, and I guess they have real world problems, which maybe as a younger guy, I thought if you got up on stage and sang that you were somewhere near the gods, so that you couldn't be doing anything really wrong. Didn't have the kind of problems that I have, but I guess they do,
Yeah,
and they
well,
argue with each other.
and here's the thing: in 1978, what did we have in terms of media? We had nothing, right? We had the 4 networks, yeah. But in terms of we've gotten to a point now that we know everything.
You mean like
about-
social media?
So there was no
Yeah,
social.
no.
Well, yeah, because right now there were probably angry bandmates
Yeah,
back in the 70s.
but we
just
didn't
never
know about it.
Well, and everybody's a reporter now because everybody's got a phone. and
Absolutely.
you see clips and you see.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
it's all
so
unveiled.
We just assumed the only time we saw bands were when they were at a concert,
Mhm.
or if they played on lip synced on American Bandstand, whatever. But now, every single nuance, every piece of dirty laundry is aired in social media. So yeah, I agree with you on Journey. That's frustrating. 'cause
TMZ.
I-
It's like that.
Exactly. I love Journey, but this whole thing, you can't get along well when you're suing each other.
No,
I
in
mean,
fact,
I think that's
you think about how long we've been friends. Have I ever sued you?
Yeah.
Not even once.
So this is from Herman. Herman says, I don't know how I got here, but I enjoy. Hey,
Welcome on
neither
in.
Welcome.
do we.
We're not quite sure how this
I don't
started.
know how I got here, but I enjoyed the conversation. Greetings from Recife, Brazil. Where are you broadcasting from? We are in beautiful Lawton, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Lawton,
The
Oklahoma.
metropolis
So just
with
backstory.
blistering heat.
JR and I both graduated from Lawton High School in 1985. I have not been in Lawton for a long time. Marlon says, "Are you Herman the German?" Okay, well, it could be. He's from Brazil, so I would
possible.
say he's Herman the Brazilian.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you.
Well, like the channel.
Yeah.
Make sure you do that.
Yeah, like the channel.
Follow.
If we said something that was interesting,
Look at-
keep commenting.
My 16-year-old son, you notice he keeps leaving the room.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
We caught a big bass today, so
He
should
did
be happy.
catch a big. Hey,
Yeah.
You keep
hey,
going
Adam,
home.
get on the mic over there. Just get on him. We
One
won't
right
make you
there.
get on camera.
You don't have to come on camera.
Yeah.
like
What
the rest
mic
of
number
us.
is that? Is that 2?
Yeah, they're all up.
Put your headphones on. We'll just let.
You can act like you're. Yeah,
we
you're
can
in.
ask. So we'll put.
He looks like his mother. He's
Yeah,
got better
you
looks
yeah,
than
yeah.
that.
good,
Adam,
yeah.
you could be the JR. You just look
Yeah.
like you're here.
Well. So JR's only here for the eye candy, anyways.
That's
true.
true,
Let's
yeah.
be honest. It's the only reason we have JR.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a face for radio, so I know.
Yeah, me too. I've been accused of that too.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put Adam on the spot. Adam likes classic rock. So what he does is he goes out and shoots baskets on the driveway, and he has Alexa out there, and so he'll say, "Hey Alexa, play." So Adam, tell us your favorite classic rock stuff you like to listen to.
Probably my favorite 2 are Blue Oyster Cult and Foreigner.
There you
BOC.
go.
Foreigner, you're good.
He and
That's
I
good.
went and saw Foreigner. Of course, there's no
With
no
or
one
without
into
Lou
that.
Graham.
Without Lou Graham.
See there, you didn't see Foreigner.
Yeah, but-
I hate that. These
Okay,
casinos
okay,
bring all these
okay.
shows,
Hang on.
and I refuse to go.
Okay, simmer down. Simmer down.
He
Because
may have touched a nerve there.
That is Foreigner.
that is a legit. That's a legit.
Yeah.
But I talk about this all the time. It's like, okay, so what's better, Eric?
Going at home and pulling up the song. and
Maybe
playing
that's it.
Go ahead.
Maybe that's it. And that's the
No, I
question: is
understand.
would it be better that we just never see a live? I keep hitting your mic.
At least you're not hitting me.
Yeah, exactly. That's next.
Okay.
would you rather see a live Foreigner in whatever permutation that is, or never see it again?
Well, you got a good point because I kicked
Yeah.
myself. Chicago was here,
Uh-huh.
and I know Peter Cetera was not.
Right.
And I
To
just
a lot of people.
well, and the
that's not
same thing was
Chicago.
Fleetwood Mac.
Oh,
I
totally.
almost pulled the trigger for Fleetwood Mac in Tulsa, but then Lindsey Buckingham said no, and I said I'm out. And I shouldn't have done that because and then she died, and then it's kind of like
It's
okay,
done now.
now
Yeah,
it's done. So now so I get your
Yeah.
point. So I think if you want to do it, just go do it.
But here's the deal with Foreigner. There's not a single original member in Foreigner
Well,
because Mick doesn't even play with them anymore.
okay.
So when we saw them about in September of last year, so almost a year ago. But I have to say,
I thought he came out and played.
he used to come like the last year. He'd come out and play like 2 songs. Well, he didn't play at all when we saw him.
We'll take Journey thing. I mean, Steve Perry, the guy sounds like Steve Perry when Steve Perry was young.
Yeah,
But all these older artists, they can't hit those notes,
Yeah.
and they let the crowd sing more
Yeah.
than they sing,
yeah,
and that gets a little disturbing
Yeah.
because they can't hit that range. They
Yeah.
can't. You can go to YouTube and watch all of these shows, live shows, and I say, "Wow!" I said, "Well, we won't bring the Frankie Valli thing up. Have you seen that
I
poor
have seen that.
90-year-old man that's he's lip syncing and
It's
he's just
total lip syncing.
it's sad.
Yeah,
It's,
it is.
I don't want to get to that point though either.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm the guy that would go. I have sentimental.
It's Frankie Valli.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly. Ronnie Millsap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
here's
was
the thing.
here and he
yes,
did a show, yeah.
Exactly.
Did you go?
My father did. I had
Yeah.
to work.
did he lip sync or was
No,
he
he
actually
actually
singing?
sang.
Okay,
Well,
well,
he didn't have the
and-
range that
and
he
s-
had. But here's the thing: you knew what you were getting when you went.
Well, that's
so
true.
it wasn't.
That's true.
And from that standpoint, there were. I
Well,
think it
there
was,
were a lot of
it
people
was, it was
trying to-
satisfying.
yeah.
Very satisfying.
So, but yeah, I also hear Adam play a lot of Rainbow.
Oh,
Okay,
Michael
Rainbow.
Schenker.
Michael Schenker.
Oh, yeah,
He likes.
he-
Did you hear
his
that,
son-
Marlon?
He's been brainwashed.
Yeah, I've
I mean, he is
successfully brainwashed my
he
son.
would never come
He
up
likes
on that on
Michael
his own at
Schenker.
all.
No, he does listen to it.
I
hear
know,
him
but
play
he
it.
would have not
Oh, yeah.
come up on that.
True. I'm
His
raising.
influence.
I'm raising my son right, and so
Yeah.
that's one good thing.
Well, I like
Stick with the
I like
Yeah.
what he said about Blue Oyster Cult. I mean,
Yeah.
he pulled that out.
He
And
li- he
I
does like
listen,
Blue
and I
Oyster
listened to them. So yeah,
yeah.
Vein.
Blue Oyster Cult is an interesting band. But back to this thing about. Sorry, we're just going all over. the
I know.
place here today.
It's okay.
You get 3 people in a room.
Yeah,
and you're
it's
gonna go,
terrible.
yeah.
So back to the artists that are. So it's a difficult thing because if people are still willing to pay to see
Mhm.
Frankie Valli
Mhm.
or to see someone who really can't sing any, I mean, we've seen the Vince Neil footage.
Oh, yeah, it's hard.
Who am I to say
But
you guys should give it up? I mean, if people are still willing to pay, I guess it's the what's the word I'm looking for? It's the consent, the informed consent.
mhm.
If I knew, okay, if I pay to see Frankie Valli, and I'm not trying to get political, but he literally looks like Joe Biden up there.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's out of it.
Yeah.
And you can
he's
tell
not
he's
there.
lip syncing because his
Right.
mouth isn't moving enough
No.
to be singing
project
those songs.
that range. Yeah.
So now if I know that going in and am willing to buy the ticket, I'm okay.
So I guess it's managing your expectations.
Yeah.
And so I think if you know, like what he said, if you know what you're going to get going in, then you're not. And so that's what I am. I judge it, and I'm jaded because old DJs that have been to, I don't know how many countless shows I had to go do and MC and get up on stage, and and the people in the crowd. I'm sounding like my dad now. I'm just
Yeah.
getting too old to wrestle with that.
Exactly.
So I'm going to stay at home. You know.
Totally. Yeah, totally. So, man, have we beat that?
I think we
To
made
death,
it
yeah.
to death, but that's okay.
So,
We often do that here.
yeah, that's kind of our
You
MO.
drive the point home and then into the ground, and then sometimes we're still
Totally.
kicking around.
Okay,
in the
so I'm really going to put this is some you talk about localization. So we're
Okay.
going to do some localization. I know all of our listeners aren't from Lawton, Oklahoma.
no, from Brazil.
We've
Yeah,
got a
and see,
Brazil.
I don't know how I found you,
Yeah.
but
No, but I'd be interested in
So-
knowing what his last concert was.
Yeah. So Herman, what was the last show you went to? Chime in and let us know. But I do have an interesting question. I should have asked my friend who's a bigwig at the police department about this while I was down there. And this is, by the way, this is going to be three guys who have never, I'm assuming, never imbibed in the cannabis scene,
No,
right?
no.
But
I wrestled way too.
here's the thing. I'm from a state, Washington State. We in Colorado were the first states to legalize.
Okay.
And it was legalized recreational,
Right.
so it's like, so I guess in Oklahoma, is it just medical?
It's medical, yeah. They turned down the other one, but it's still
But
medical
still,
because
anyone
if you
can
go
get
and
it, though.
say, your symptoms, I got a backache, I got
They'll
a
sell it
headache,
to
I
you.
got stress. Okay, well, you got to have a doctor to sign off on it.
Oh, you do.
Yeah,
you
you have to
do
have a
still
doctor.
have to have that
Yeah.
because
They have
every.
doctors on call, so if you
every-
call this number, they can.
You're kidding.
No, that's
Yeah.
they put it on billboards.
Every single strip mall in
Yes.
Lawton
everywhere,
has a weed
every
store.
corner. I
Yeah.
know.
But
And
that's
how
not,
can they all survive?
I don't know.
So Adam, what was the one we liked yesterday? We're cracking up at the
Oh,
names.
names.
What was the one last night? Charlie and the Weed Factory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
one.
Now
you know,
a shameless plug.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now you're like the pizza. You want the guy to deliver.
Yeah, well, we're not going there. No, time out.
No,
I
we're not.
draw a
I'm
line.
just teasing.
We're
I draw a
not. We're
line.
not condoning it.
No,
Okay.
but we are actually. You're
Using it.
Yeah,
no,
no,
not at all.
But
I just thought it was fascinating that here we're in Pothead, Washington, and there are more pot shops in
Yeah.
Lawton
Yeah.
than there are in Spokane.
yeah, did I tell you
And
something
pizza and
about
McDonald's and
Yeah.
everything else.
and they're just trying to make some headway into the marketing plan. Get rich plan. You're going to get rich fast.
It was like ostrich eggs. Remember
Yeah,
that back
yeah.
in the 80s?
Emus and
Emus
ostrich
and ostrich eggs.
Everybody had one.
Yeah.
And I had two friends that were competing,
Wow.
and they wanted to know which emu farm I was going to attend. But anyway, we're getting so
It's
far
really
off.
way So
But did Herman ever answer?
Herman, I don't know if Herman's still here. Herman, what's the last concert you saw? We're curious about that. Marlon, you chime in too. What's the last show you saw? I'd love to hear about that.
Last show or first show?
First show.
Oh, first show.
Yeah,
First,
that's what it was.
first show.
We didn't get JR's
Yeah.
first show.
Well, what was the first
First
show
concert
you
you
saw?
went to?
It was something country,
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure.
was.
It's okay.
Mark Colley.
Martin
Oh,
Colley.
yeah,
They
Mark
played at the
Colley.
Chili Cook-Off in Cash.
Okay.
I could go off on a whole bunch of
Yeah,
chili cook-offs.
it was a
Because
car show.
K-Law, that was their
That was-
thing.
Okay, then you remember Eagle Park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Eagle
Right in
Park.
Cash.
out in Cash.
Is
Had
Eagle
amusement
Park
parks there.
is Eagle Park still there?
It-
no,
it-
it's all overgrown with
It's
weeds
overgrown.
and-
It's
Just-
not the Eagle
Because
Park you would
when I was
remember.
in 7th grade, we still went roller skating at Eagle Park.
No,
Yeah,
it's not there
Not
now.
anymore.
No, but no, what is Mark Colley and
I was trying to think of the song. What was his song known for? His
I remember the name.
It's interesting because the video had a T-Bird in it, and 56 Ford T-Bird.
Which his dad has.
Yeah,
one.
my father has that same
very
car.
nice.
Even the moon, Man in the Moon is crying.
Yeah, there it is. You
Oh,
got it back.
wow.
Pulled it out of the hat.
That's good. That's nice. So Bruce is a regular. Bruce is checking in.
Nice.
Bruce, if I remember right, you're in Georgia. I think Bruce is in Georgia. If I got that wrong, sorry. Bruce, what's the first concert you ever went to? That's what we're asking everyone. First concert you ever went to. Marlon, chime in. Anyone else who wants to. We got to wrap this up before.
Yeah, we're pushing.
Yeah,
we're
north
pushing,
of
we're
60
pushing the
minutes on
envelope.
this.
So okay, all right. So yeah, Atlanta. Yep, I thought that. So Bruce is from Atlanta. Bruce, what's the first concert you saw? And we'll let him be our last. Kiss, 1977. Okay, that was at their height. So there you
Oh
go.
man, I'm envious.
There you go. That's another band.
Yeah, that's-
Now, Bruce, don't get me wrong when I say this. Have you?
You could give us
first,
either,
Marlon.
Marlon.
How about both? Give
Oh.
us both. Yeah, give us both. First and last. Herman says the last big festival was Rock in Rio, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Okay, awesome. I do have to say this. Kiss is a band that I like the characters more than the music. I do. Have you seen?
That's good.
They were hoping you would do
I
that,
used to
though.
watch Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. Love that
Yeah.
show.
Well,
yeah.
have you seen? It's powerful. I
Yeah.
just saw it. Him talking about when his mom
Oh,
got
yeah.
U.S. citizenship. when
It's an
he's
old
talking
old
about-
video, but it's
It's old.
resurfacing.
Yeah.
But it's very touching.
It's very
Yeah.
touching, and
Yeah.
he gets emotional, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's very powerful. So I like that. And yeah, it's cool. So I think we've done enough damage.
Okay,
for
all right.
For one time.
But I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah,
and
no, and
having the
and
opportunity.
I just want to end with another plug for Oklahoma Sports Network. I mean, even if you're not in Oklahoma, you can still watch.
Yeah,
But
quality.
Appreciate it.
oksportsnet.com is the website. But if you are in Oklahoma, if you're joining us from Oklahoma, you absolutely should have that app on your phone, and it's a great way to watch the Oklahoma sports. And you might hear yours truly doing a
That's
commercial.
right. You're on
every
all
now
the
and then.
disclaimers on
that's
all
great,
12
yes.
channels.
I like to
That's
tell
right.
people I'm the voice of
You're one of
Oklahoma
them.
sports.
That's right. You are.
So
Anything for a buck.
So Bruce says, Sammy Hagar Atlanta was my most recent, that Best of All Worlds tour. Wow, that's a great one. So
That is.
first was probably second chapter of Acts, middle 70s. I'm not familiar with that group.
Don't know.
I've never heard of them. But thank you, Marlon, for that. And Bruce, thank you for that. I wanted to say one other thing. The plug for Classic Guitar Rock Radio.
Yes.
Okay, if you go to classicguitarrock.com, that's the portal. That will change your life, right? Go to that. You can click on
We don't know in which way, but it'll change your life.
One button takes you to the podcast, one button takes you to the radio station. So, JR, I'm cruising to the police station this morning. I'm going there to visit my friend. Okay, it wasn't. Yeah. Okay, so I'm
It
on
wasn't
my
me.
way to the police station, and I hear Eric Sharam.
Are you sure?
Yes, I hear
Okay.
Eric Sharam playing on my radio station.
Okay.
Because the way it works, Eric, is
Bought ads.
it's live 365 is the platform that my radio station is on. And it was the interesting thing coming down through various parts of the country as we're listening to my radio
It
station.
changes.
The ads will change.
Right.
So there's like
Localized.
local
Yeah.
Colorado ads
Right,
or
right,
local
right.
Utah ads or whatever. And so a local Oklahoma ad comes on, and Eric's been around forever. You've probably voiced so many spots.
I
you
need
don't
royalties
remember.
of that because I have no idea what you're
It-
talking
it
about.
was-
I want to see what that
It
is.
was for a fitness. Well, let me invite you to listen to my radio
Okay.
station.
All right. I'll do
And
that.
then I bet you wouldn't have to wait long.
and hear
probably
it.
hear
Okay.
it.
All right.
They play 4 minutes an hour. You'll hear a commercial, and one of
Okay.
them might be Eric Sharon. So anyway, all right, guys, this has been awesome. Thank you to Adam for being patient and watching. Say bye, Adam.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, JR and Eric. Thank you all so much.
Yes.
And thank you all for joining. And we'll do it all again. I'm not even going to say when we'll do it next because I don't know when.
That's a
we'll do this.
surprise.
It's a surprise. So thank you all. We'll see you. Take care. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.